Are you aware of that conversation?
Yeah, I don't live under a rock.
Our club's position is that we will not be trading him under any circumstances.
My job is pretty clear. Make Hawthorn win.
Wouldn't be very good at hide and seek, Mitch, I reckon. Marco Polo. Polo! Marco!
I'm not a body language expert, but it's fair to say I don't think this deal is getting done by the looks of Tom Petrora there.
When you promise a club captain to put himself through this, to this point, to this extreme, you've got to come up with a way to get the deal done.
The reality is now that the gloves are off, all's fair and love and war.
Get your tickets to round one. Essendon and Hawthorn will be spicy.
What you're referring to at the end of last year, does it add spice? Probably.
It seems as though 90,000 plus are going to break the all-time record between Essendon and Hawthorn in a home and away game on Friday night with that as the backdrop. So, Brad, you sat here with us in September and told us precisely how this would unfold, and you were true to your word. Was there a bit of marriage counselling between you and Zach in the aftermath?
No, there wasn't any required. I mean, it was obviously a difficult period for everyone, but people don't believe you. But I mean, it's you know, the narrative, there must have been some sort of breakdown between the player and coach. That never happened. So, you know, he and I have always had a good relationship, and I've talked about, you know, Zach has in a lot of ways, you know, carried our club through a really difficult period, and I always understood the burden that leadership carries, particularly when your club's struggling. And what I probably missed last year is because he is so good at compartmentalising and focusing on what he needs to, that it was probably weighing on him more than I realised. So, no, everything has unfolded the way that we fully expected it to. He's come in and been our best trainer in the pre-season, which is no surprise, and he thrives on these moments and these big games. So, you know, we probably should give him a percentage of the gate receipts.
The build-up, that's not the first time you're going to see that or hear that, and that's just the theatre of footy. But what was real was a couple of his teammates were, you know, vocal in just stating that they're disappointed, paraphrasing. So that's a relationship that has to be healed and mended. And I've seen that happen, so I don't suggest it doesn't, but how significant was it? And is it, and I know exactly what you're going to say, and everyone comes back under the one roof and you get on with it. Are we, as a footy-loving public, just got to get our head around the fact that this will happen more and more, and if it doesn't go the way of the player, they have to get reintegrated, and that's just life.
Yeah, I think it'll fluctuate. I mean, you see, for a while there, it was if a player declared they wanted to go to a club, they almost always got to that club. You know, we take contracting very seriously, and when we contract players, we have the full intention of seeing that contract through. So, you know, maybe things have shifted a little bit. You know, one player manager said to me that we used to hold the power and now you guys hold the power. So it's completely shifted. So, you know, the footy clubs are amazing places, and, you know, it's become public that one of our funnier players presented Zach with a Hawthorn jumper in the off-season, and, you know, it's just that talks to, you know, how quickly we moved on and how quickly it became a joke. I mean, that was at the end of last year. So I get that there's theatre around this game, but we moved on really quickly, and footy clubs have a great way of levelling everyone out, and when things like that happen, you know, we get back to business pretty quickly.
The hatred of Hawthorn's not theatre, though, is it? From a club point of view? No,
as a 8-year-old, the hatred was real. I mean, when I was 8 years old, those games shaped my football childhood. They were massive games. Everyone lived for them. The rivalry is real, and it's been real for 40 or 50 years. This is just the next instalment of it. So we're privileged to play in these games. I think it's unbelievable that we get to run out round one in a game like this. It's fantastic for our players, and it prepares them well, hopefully, for the things that are to come.
They've targeted your captain and best player and made life uncomfortable for you guys for a period of time. You sat here and said the gloves are off. There was an offer made to Josh Weddle subsequently from your footy club.
Yep.
So it is real. This is, you know, give and take, and expect to wear one back.
Well, that's the way things work. I mean, if you throw a punch, expect one to come back your way pretty quickly, especially at our club.
For all that you've said about Zach, he couldn't be captain. Was that agreed upon quickly?
Really quickly. I mean, wasn't even a discussion, because he came straight in and said this is what's best for me, and it's what's best for the club. And as I touched on, I probably misread the burden that he was carrying for the 3 years as captain. And we're going to see a Zach Merrett this year that has had that burden released, and the shackles are off for him. So, you know, I've said, mate, unashamedly, you need to focus on yourself, and you know, you just focus on being the best player you can be. And you know, we've got a lot of developing leaders that are coming through, and it gives us an opportunity now for Andy McGrath to flourish, for our young leaders to step into the void, and we still have Zach there as our on-field cultural general, and we've got the opportunity to develop other players off-field. So
for both of you, there's multiple captains these days. You've had that demo, you've gone to one who I think is an outstanding young leader. Is it harder than ever before to captain a footy club? Yeah, we have one too. I mean, Andy McGrath's our standalone captain, and the rest of our leadership group, we don't have a standalone vice captain because it does take a lot of different personalities to lead, and it's unrealistic to expect one person to be all things to all people. So the way that we do it, we delegate responsibilities to our leaders based on their individual strengths, and we think that the group approach is the right one with a standalone captain.
Dimmer?
Yeah, very similar, as Brad said. And it is a challenging role these days with the amount of commitments you have, but then also to perform at the highest level. So the more you can spread the load, I think can only be beneficial, not only for your captain, but also for the emergence of your other leaders as well to grow into that space also. So, we're very similar with regard to delegation of roles and understanding of roles within that leadership group. And, I think most leadership groups do a terrific job of relieving the burden on a sole captain at stages also.
One more. So Greg Swan said that he'd written to clubs to ask for feedback on Origin and what the right format going forward would be. Damien, have you made your thoughts known here?
Oh, we did at our coaches' conference. I love State of Origin. I just didn't love the timing. It just didn't suit our build-up for our team. We really want our players to play, but probably at the right time. It's really challenging when we're preparing for round 0 to have our players 3 to 4 weeks out playing the fastest game that's probably ever been recorded on GPS. They just weren't ready for it, and we probably saw the outcome of that. With some players that weren't quite ready for AFL come round 0. We can't compromise our season for a game that, although important, is not ready to be played at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I thought in the lead-up that we'd stumbled on the perfect time for it. In the middle, a lot of people have talked about the middle of the year. I think if you're a top 4 side in the middle of the year and you get an injury in Origin, that would be an issue. I think it's always going to be a debate. Where does it fit? I'd love it to fit somewhere. And so I think engaging the coaches, the high-performance managers, how can we prepare our players to be ready wherever it fits? I think we've got to keep thinking about these things because we found a way to get gather round in, to get a wildcard round in. We've got to find a way to get State of Origin in.
The major injury concern out of the first half, Will Schofield, was Harry Edwards, who got a pretty strong bump in a good contest and will take no further part. Luca Grego's into the action.
Well, I mean, it's lucky they're not playing next week because they've already got Ruben Jimby out, Brendan Starcevic out, Brady Hoff out. So there's 3 starting key back 6. Harry Edwards looks like he'll probably go into concussion protocols. That's just an educated guess, but not a good sign for West Coast given that they don't have a lot of depth there anyway.
Tried to stay out there originally. You could see just the way he was shaking his head. He was a bit dazed after that big hit. And Luca Grego took a nasty fall of his own in that second quarter as well.